Hello, my friends. We're back again. Yes, we got to set up another animal. Today we're setting up another incredible spider that we received from our dear friend Adam over at Trulytarantlulas. You guys saw the unboxing video. Today we've got to go set it up. You can probably guess we got to set up the OBT.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Now the OBT is often called the orange bitey thing. And it's Pterinochilus murinus, and this is the red form. So it comes in many different color forms because it's a very, very widespread species. And basically, if you see where it has RCF after it, that's the bright orange red form, and that's what this one is here. And this is a confirmed female. Now, you guys know we've had one before, and this is a spider that for beginners, when they get into spiders, they always want one of these because of the striking coloration. But this is a species that is definitely not for beginners. This is an old world species that comes from Africa, and it's very, very widespread in all the desert and scrub type habitats all throughout Central Africa. It is an old world, so it's highly, highly medically significant venom. And as it's called, orange bitey thing, it's very fast, very flighty, and it's definitely prone to striking. This is often the species you see where it's all flared up and it's showing off its chelicerae. This is a species that is not to be taken lightly. Now, this is one species that I have actually been bitten by, and I can tell you, having been bitten, stung by many, many things, this was a horrible, horrible experience. So this is definitely an animal that commands respect. So you can see that we have an exoteric enclosure here that's already set up. Before we get into landing this beautiful spider, let's use some magic. Let's show you how we set this cage up. You ready? All right, well, here we're ready to go. We've gone and cleaned out and sterilized the old tank. Now, I do have some different things that I've gone around and played around with in the background, and that's why it looks like it's got a little bit of grit and stuff. That stuff that's washed off the background. I have several pieces like this. These are different types of stumps and things that I have left over from the aquarium trade. But what's really cool is they have a real sharp edge on one side. And the one problem with OBTs is you almost never see them. So I thought the idea of maybe going and doing something like this, where we could have it right against the glass, where I might be able to see the animal a little bit better, if we can find a way to make it work. So the idea I came up with was the idea of taking a cork tube and somehow applying the cork tube directly to that opening and making it work a certain way. Now, I had it, when I was dry fitting it, I had it make it work. But I thought this would be kind of a cool idea if we could make this kind of a tube work, that it can go down the tube and into the thing, and then we're going to kind of bury the stump a little bit. So let's put it on a time lapse and see what we can come up with. Let's go take a closer look. So basically, I think I've accomplished the goal. Took a little bit longer. It's almost like aquascaping an aquarium, but things I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of show off those unique rocks. I don't know what they are, but they're just kind of cool. A lot of texture and different things, really weather worn. I think they look really awesome. And then using some of these old pieces of grapevine and a couple of pieces of spider wood, I wanted to find a way to almost conceal the cork tube, which to me looks just rather foreign in a desert kind of a habitat. So, and then we've gone and buried that stump, and if we look down on the side, I think we've kind of accomplished our goal there. Well, that was pretty cool, and I had a lot of fun building this enclosure. We have a nice young female here. She's only about 2.5, maybe 3 inches once she spreads out. As I mentioned, this is a species from Africa, desert scrub type habitat, so you can kind of see it here. And you can see how we've drawn it out, and you've seen how we built it. But you also see if I turn it sideways, we can take this enclosure off the shelf and we could easily see it generally where it's going to be within its retreat. It's always a species that's a little nerve-wracking when you have to work with it. Now, the different types of styles of vivariums, this is an exoteric. This is distributed by a company called Hagen. and it has the double door. So some people really like it, especially for species like this that are very quick and darty, because you can work with just one door open and thereby limiting the chance of escape a little bit better than, say, the ones with a full-size door, or the ones that come from, I believe, a company in the UK that I often see, like Dave's Little Beasties. He uses ones that are just all glass with just an open top. And those, they all have their advantages and pros and cons, but regardless, this one works really well, and we're going to use this one here. It's full ventilation on the top. It's a nice locking lid. You guys saw how we all put it together with the background and everything, so this one's ready to go. Now, the one thing I always tend to forget about mentioning in the things, even though it's a desert species, it does require water. It will, and probably in the wild, have access to water mostly from its prey sources, but in captivity we can provide it. So I tend to use I save a lot of different lids for milk jugs, water bottles, and I've used those different inkwells and stuff. But for the purposes, this one here is just a little water cap from a bottle of water. I just kind of put it into the substrate a little bit there. So for the water, what I tend to use at home is, because we live in the country and we have well water, I make everything through my reverse osmosis unit, which gives me chemically inert water that has zero hardness, zero calcium, and that's really good, not necessarily for the desert species or the scrub species, but anything with a higher humidity that you're going to be misting. That way I won't get any of that calcium deposit on the glass. So we have our catch cup ready, we have our brush, and we have our beautiful OBT. So this generally goes fairly easy. So as we're nice and calm with our spiders, we're just going to open it up. Maybe we'll use it on this side here. The only disadvantage with this particular one is these vials is they only have one side, so I kind of have to go into the vial to be able to get the animal out. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm actually going to kind of tease the paper towel out a little bit. And sadly, the paper towel is not one piece, but let me get some forceps. Now we're going to go ahead and do that. Thankfully, we're working directly on our working cart right here, right now. So this works out very well. And we can just kind of go in ahead here. Now we can probably pull this out a little bit. And there's that little girl right there. And let's see if we can maybe get some close-up images before she vanishes out of sight. There she's kind of exploring her environment a little bit there. Look at her there. Just absolutely stunning spider. It's nice. Every collection should have one. If you're comfortable working with some of the old worlds, having an OBT in your collection is always something definitely worth having. We're going to let her settle in on her own. I think she's absolutely amazing. And we'll check back on her in another video down the road. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We'll talk to you again. Take care.